Ever just find yourself scrolling through Reddit and bam, you stumble on a joke. And it's not just a little chuckle, it's one of those laugh out loud moments.
Yeah, today we're diving deep into our jokes, trying to crack the code. What makes a Reddit joke really work. This subreddit, it's amazing, right? It's like this incredible mix of everything. You've got your classic dad jokes, puns that make you groan, but you can't help but smile. It really does feel like there's something there for everyone's sense of humor.
And that's what I find so fascinating about humor. It's this universal language, but it's also incredibly personal. What makes us laugh, it says a lot about who we are, our experiences, even our worldview.
So are you saying there's like a formula for the perfect joke? Can we really break it down scientifically?
Well, it's not exactly a formula, but there are definitely common threads.
Yeah.
Take the top voted joke in this feed, the one about the Alabama State Troopers. It plays on regional stereotypes, which, let's be honest, can be comedic gold.
Oh, yeah, the one where they chase a suspect across state lines and think they've traveled back in time? Classic. Exactly. But why do you think that one resonates with so many people?
Well, for one, it plays on those preconceived notions we have about different places. Like we already have this image of, say, Alabama State Troopers in our minds, so the joke just builds on that expectation.
And don't forget the element of surprise. They think they're an hour behind because of the time zone, but nope, they're wrong.
It's that unexpected twist that's what gets you.
It's classic comedy, right? It disrupts our expectations, makes us reevaluate the situation, and then boom, that aha moment.
It's so true. But it's not just about the surprise. That joke, it also taps into something we can all relate to, that feeling of getting something wrong, even when you're so sure of yourself.
Absolutely. Relatability is key. The more people see themselves or their experiences reflected in a joke, the funnier they find it. And when you combine that with clever wordplay or a ridiculous situation, you've got a recipe for comedic gold.
It's like that joke further down with the kid playing video games, right?
Yeah.
And his mom's boyfriend, who's this hardcore gamer with the username BlueDragon72. I was in stitches.
What about that one really tickled your funny bone?
Well, at first, I thought it was going to be your typical gamer humor, poking fun at someone who takes their online persona a little too seriously. But then, bam, it takes this unexpected turn. The mom's boyfriend, he's not some clueless noob. He's actually incredible at the game. It's like the joke is playing with our expectations, both of gamers and overprotective boyfriends.
You've hit on something very clever, what we call meta-humor. It's humor that's self-aware, commenting on the very nature of humor itself.
Whoa, meta humor. I never thought of it like that. It's like our brains are giving themselves a high five for getting the joke. But let's be real, it's not always so clear-cut, is it? Humor can be pretty subjective.
100%. What one person finds hilarious, another might find offensive or just not funny at all.
Right, like that joke about laxatives in church. Some people might be on the floor laughing, others not so much.
Exactly. And that's what makes humor such a fascinating and complex topic. It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? What is it about those taboo subjects that can make us laugh?
Yeah, like that line between funny and offensive can get blurry sometimes. Especially with dark humor, it feels like you're tiptoeing on that line.
It's that element of risk, right? You're not supposed to find it funny.
Maybe that's part of the appeal, pushing the boundaries a little.
And you're right, context is everything with humor. That laxative joke, different story if you're hearing it at a comedy club versus, say, a funeral.
Totally. And speaking of context, we're looking at these jokes on Reddit. But Reddit's not just a place to read jokes, it's a whole community with its own rules, its own culture even.
That's so important to remember when we're talking about online humor. Platforms like Reddit, they've become like these breeding grounds for jokes.
It's true, they spread like wildfire online.
Exactly. And they evolve so quickly, too. Think about the no reposts rule on this subreddit. It's there for a reason.
You gotta come up with something original, you can't just rehash the classics.
Right. And that gets into this whole question of joke ownership in the digital age.
It's hard to keep track of who came up with what when a joke can go viral in seconds.
It really is like a giant game of comedic telephone.
Each person adding their own little spin as it gets passed along.
And while some might say there's no such thing as a truly original joke, that everything's been done before.
There's still got to be some value in finding a fresh angle, a new twist.
Absolutely. That ingenuity, that's what keeps comedy fresh. And that's what makes a platform like our jokes so fascinating to me.
It's like a snapshot of humor in the digital age.
Exactly. We see what catches people's attention, what makes them laugh right now.
And that upvote system, that's like a real-time barometer of what works.
It's true. The cream of the crop, comedically speaking, rises to the top.
So after all this, do you think there's a secret formula for a perfect Reddit joke? I don't know about a formula, but we've definitely seen some patterns.
Right. Surprise, relatability,
A little social commentary thrown in.
and who could forget meta humor? That seems to be a recipe for success on Reddit.
Yeah, meta humor for the win. But it makes you wonder, right? If we overthink it, analyze it too much, does that ruin the joke?
It's like that old saying, analyzing humor is like dissecting a frog.
Please tell me you remember how it ends.
No one learns anything, and the frog dies. But I don't know if I completely agree. I mean, understanding the mechanics of humor can actually make us appreciate it more.
So you're saying knowing how a joke works can make it funnier.
Exactly. It's like when a magician explains a trick.
I guess it doesn't always ruin the magic, does it?
Right. It can actually enhance that sense of wonder, you know?
Okay, I see what you mean. So maybe it's all about finding that balance, appreciating the art of the joke,
But also understanding the elements that make it tick.
and of course, allowing ourselves to just enjoy the laugh.
Exactly. That's what makes humor so fascinating.
It's a science, it's an art form, it's this weird, wonderful thing that connects us all.
I couldn't agree more. And, speaking of connection, think about it. All these jokes, the laughter, this whole online community, it exists because we, as humans, crave humor.
We need to laugh together. It's such a basic human need.
Absolutely. Humor brings people together, helps us cope with the absurdity of it all.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of our jokes, what's your biggest takeaway? What do you hope our listeners remember?
Never underestimate the power of a good laugh, whether it's a corny pun or a thought-provoking observation.
Or even a joke that makes you question everything.
Humor is essential. It's a part of what makes us human.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of Reddit humor. Keep those funny bones tickled out there, folks. And remember, never stop exploring that wonderful, weird, endlessly fascinating world of humor. This has been The Deep Dive, signing off.